Second set. The wind is swirling across center court, and Novak Djokovic has just lost a set he should have won. The crowd can feel it. There's a younger man across the net, faster, fresher, hitting the ball like he's got something to prove. And for a moment, it looks like the story everyone's been waiting to write is about to come true. The old king, finally caught by time. And then, the 39-year-old does the one thing nobody younger in that draw can do. He stops reacting, and he starts predicting. A few games later, it's over. Djokovic wins in 4. And that win, that specific, ugly, wind-blown, imperfect win, is his 106-match victory at Wimbledon, one more than Roger Federer. The most Wimbledon match wins of any man in history. Here's the thing you're supposed to believe. You peak young. You hit your best somewhere in your 20s, and after that it's all a slow slide down. If that were the whole truth, Djokovic should be finished. He's 39. In tennis years, that's ancient. Instead, he just passed the most physically gifted player who ever picked up a racket. So what is everyone missing? Let's start with the record, because the details are where the mystery hides. He beat Roman Safulin 7-6, 6-3, 3-6, 6-3, 4 sets. His 106th career win at Wimbledon, one past Federer's 105. To be exact, it's the men's record, not the all-time mark across everyone who's ever played there. But make no mistake, he is now the winningest man in the history of the tournament. And here's the part that turns this from a stat into a story. He didn't dominate. Look at how he got there. He dropped sets all tournament. He survived a first-set tiebreak against Safulin. He lost the third set outright. He fought the wind. He made errors. He had stretches where he looked every one of his 39 years. This wasn't a machine steamrolling the field. This was a man solving one hard problem after another. Which makes the question so much better, because if he's not overpowering anyone, if he's slower, if he's tired, if he's dropping sets to guys you've never heard of, then how is he still winning? Most people ask the wrong question. They ask, how is Djokovic still so fast? He isn't. That's the whole point. He's not outrunning these players. Watch closely and you'll see him get to balls a step late that he used to reach with room to spare. The speed is going. The recovery is going. On pure physical tools, half the guys he beats would win. So he stopped playing that game. Think about it like this. Every player walks onto the court with two kinds of margin. There's physical margin, how fast you move, how hard you hit, how quickly you recover between points. Young players have tons of it. They can make a bad decision and still win the point because their legs bail them out. And then there's decision margin, how good your choices are, whether you hit to the right target, whether you take the smart risk instead of the greedy one, whether you read what's coming before it arrives. Younger players have more physical margin. Djokovic has more decision margin. And at 39, he has built the second kind higher than anyone alive. This is the thing we get wrong about getting older. We picture decline as a single line sliding down. One curve, one direction, down and to the right, forever. But that's not how aging actually works. Not for an athlete, not for you. Picture two lines instead. One is your physical ability, speed, power, recovery, and yes, past a certain age, that line slides down. But there's a second line, your judgment, your pattern recognition, your emotional control, and that line is still climbing. Aging isn't a cliff, it's a trade. One thing gets worse while another gets better. And winning, in tennis, in your work, in your life, is just keeping the sum of those two lines higher than the person across from you. Djokovic figured out something simple and ruthless. If you're losing the race on the first line, stop racing. Change the game. Turn the sprint into chess. Because in a sprint, the faster body wins. But in chess, The person who sees one move earlier beats the person who moves one step faster, every single time. And that's really him now. A man playing chess against opponents who think they're in a sprint. Now, here's where this stops being about Djokovic and starts being about you. Because you have this exact trade coming, if it hasn't started already. And the fear underneath it is real. The quiet worry that your best years are behind you. That the sharp version of you has already happened. Watch how Djokovic answers that fear. Because his answer is available to you at any age. The question is, why? Why would decision-making get better while everything physical gets worse? It sounds like a consolation prize. It isn't. There's real machinery behind it. Start with expertise. An expert doesn't think faster than a beginner, reaction by reaction. That's the surprising part. What experts do is see differently. A beginner sees a chaos of moving pieces. An expert sees patterns, chunks, whole situations they recognize instantly because they've seen them 10,000 times before. Djokovic has played nearly every situation a tennis match can produce. So when a point starts to form, he's not reacting to it, he's remembering it. He reads the toss, the grip, the shape of his opponent's shoulders, and he knows where the ball is going before it's hit. That's not faster reflexes, that's better perception. And perception is one of the things that grows with age. Then there's emotional control, and this one is pure economics. At 39, you don't have energy to waste. Not physical energy, not emotional energy. Watch a younger player lose a set they were winning. They rattle. They tighten up. They start missing. They spend the next 20 minutes fighting their own head. That's expensive. Every panic costs fuel. Djokovic loses a set and his face doesn't change. He resets. He's not spending energy on the last point. He's saving it for the next one. Not panicking isn't just calm, it's efficient. And then, selective intensity. A younger Djokovic could play every point like it was match point. This one can't, and knows it. So he doesn't. He picks his moments. He'll let a point go to win a game. He conserves on his serve and detonates on the return. He plays the scoreboard, not his ego. He spends his intensity exactly where it changes the outcome, and nowhere else. Faster body, slower mind, versus a slower body and a mind that sees the whole board. Now you understand who actually walks off that court a winner. But there's one more trap here, and it catches the fans harder than it catches Djokovic. Every time he loses early somewhere, the internet buries him. He's finished. It's over. Time caught him. And every time he wins, the same people flip. He's back. He's immortal. One match and the whole verdict swings from dead to God. That's just bad math. There's a smarter way to update what you believe, and it has a name. It's called thinking like a Bayesian. It means you don't throw out everything you knew because of one new piece of evidence. You start with a strong prior, 20 years of Djokovic being one of the greatest to ever play, and a single match nudges that belief a little. It doesn't detonate it. One bad match isn't, he's done. It's one data point landing on a mountain of them. People who overreact to the last result aren't being observant. They're being fooled by noise. And there's a second number people misread, the base rate. If you look at every tennis player in history, almost all of them fell apart well before 39. So statistically, Djokovic should be gone. But a base rate describes the average player. It doesn't describe the extreme one. Djokovic isn't a typical data point sitting in the fat middle of the curve. He's way out at the edge, in the tail, where the rules that bind everyone else get bent. The base rate tells you what usually happens. The outlier shows you what's possible. And confusing those two, assuming you're the average when you might be the exception, or the reverse, is one of the most expensive mistakes a person can make about their own life. Because this was never really about tennis. You have a version of this waiting for you if you're not living it already. The engineer at 45 who can't outcode the 25-year-old at 2 in the morning, but designs the system that doesn't break because they've watched every way it can. The driver who doesn't have a teenager's reflexes, but has never once crashed because they're reading the road 3 cars ahead. The quiet moment where you catch yourself thinking the good stuff is behind you. Here's what Djokovic would tell you. Stop trying to win the sprint you're losing. That race, the pure speed, the raw horsepower, you might not win that one anymore. And burning yourself out trying is how you lose twice. Start compounding the other margin, the judgment, the pattern you've seen 100 times that the person next to you is seeing for the first time. That account only grows, and almost nobody is deliberately paying into it. And stop declaring yourself finished on one bad day. One rough quarter, one failed project, one off month is a single data point. It is not the story. That's the same error the fans make about Djokovic. Run on your own life, mistaking a bad match for a verdict. So come back to that windy court, the younger man across the net, the lost set, the crowd waiting for the fall. He didn't move faster than that kid. He couldn't. What he did was think earlier. He saw the point before it happened, spent his energy only where it mattered, and refused to panic when the match got ugly. Djokovic isn't beating time. Nobody beats time. He's doing something smarter. He's out deciding it. He turned tennis into a thinking game, and the thinking part of him is still getting better. At 39, he doesn't always move faster. He just thinks earlier. And in elite sport, and in a life, thinking earlier looks exactly like moving faster.